vibration. Energy, frequency, vibration.
I didn't even add myself to stream. I'm bugging. What's going on, world? Welcome to the Universal Frequency Podcast. My name is FNX. And before we get started, we got to show some love to who we are powered by. Yeah, my trackpad was wilding. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a good night. We were going to talk about observance today, but I have a special guest that could not make it, so we're going to save that observance episode for another day. But I'm still happy to connect with you guys. Excited about what we're building, what I'm building, what you guys are building. Looking to learn more about what you're doing. Exchange ideas, right? The tide raises all ships. Looking for positive energy, right? I'm like a battery. I soak all that in and I push it right back out. It's my mutant power. But I do want to play you some music, man. I do want to play you some music. I gotta drop previews from time to time. And I gotta do it a certain way because those of you in the YouTube community know that you can even play your own stuff and get copyrighted. That's bugged out. I got hit with a copyright for playing my own YouTube video. Counted one of the videos I played was a cover of someone else's, but like, it was like, whoa, man, like, whatever. Anyway, so what I want to play for y'all today. Ooh, here we go. Add this to the stream, bro.
Sometimes I question everything.
Maybe I'm crazy. I've been feeling so alone and lately. Clouds are gray and every day is rainy.
I'm in my zone. I'm around people, still I feel alone. I'm in my zone. I'm around people, still I feel alone. God, I'm just praying that I make it through. And even if you don't like me, I pray we make it too. The evolution of higher self and I'm breaking through. Think less, no more, then just do what you came to do. And still I wonder what my purpose was. Knowing no amount of money's ever worth the love. They say that lurking by the fruit is where the serpent was. So may this holy water turn this evil dirt to mud. It gets colder and colder, don't lose your composure. We always had to move, is why I'm a loner. Imagine being too high, trying to get sober. My time slips away, we don't get to overs, and I'm just hoping that you find home. There's no your state of mind is bigger than the time zone. Already media, they try to tell us lies on. Don't be afraid to question anything. Who cares if they think that you're crazy?
Maybe I'm crazy. I've been feeling so alone and lately. Clouds are gray and every day is rainy.
I'm in my zone. I'm around people, still I feel alone. I'm in my zone. I'm around people, still I feel
alone. Yeah, we rocking.
Hey yo.
Shout the Booger on the track for the last beat. Forgot to shout him out.
Still seeing
shout the A2 on the beat for this one. I just enjoy this music, man. I can't wait till I share it.
It's the realest shit I ever wrote. I won't say I was poor, but I know I grew up broke. I had some family pimping and some ones that selling dope. I won't say that I'm perfect, but I'm begging that you go. Keep inside and have the realest shit I ever wrote. I won't say I was poor, but I know I grew up broke. I had some family pimping and some ones that selling dope. I won't say that I'm perfect, but I'm begging that you go. Get inside and having God. Yeah. Tell me why I'm still hustling my purpose. Bring up my consciousness and then reconnect it with verses. The core strong, but they testing the surface. Never break a fold, but they can't ignore and suppress what our worth is. And so we elevate. Doctor said my pressure high. He want me to medicate. That's why I'm stressing, but he don't know my resume. We was on 95, turning lemons to lemonade. Praise God. If I am worthy, my hands dirty. But if redemption is sin, a righteous man's journey. Still trying to make these plans hurry. But all things to do time, so hold your ground and stand sturdy. My energy should have been put in books. Still, we was 13, a freestyle, bikes pulling jokes. Some of us corporate and some are crooks. And some refuse to dance with the devil despite of how shit it looks. I won't say I was poor, but I know I grew up broke. I had some family pimping and some ones that selling dope. I won't say that I'm perfect, but I'm begging that you don't. Deep inside, I had the realest shit I ever wrote. I won't say I was poor, but I know I grew up broke. I had some family pimping and some ones that selling dope. I won't say that I'm perfect, but I'm begging that you don't. Deep inside, I have me, yeah. This is poverty-stricken trauma. I need a crib so big that I probably could fit my mama. Them hot French kids who roll for drip in a Honda. Hand-me-down clothes on my uncle's culture designer. Say I'm trying to get mine up. Grown man risk when really we was just minors. If you ain't ball, it was money, weed, or vagina. I found the same time that Pac was crushing my Donna. My family got it figured, so every check it a comma. We was monetarily poor, but rich in the spirit. My music connects you to God every time that you hear it. I see my soul when I'm in the mirror. Say the banana split, and I probably should have put time on my marriage. Is it for Seraphim? No, it's Phoenix and Seraphim. God got me through, it's hard to judge by appearance. It's deep in the labels and sample clearances. These are not empty words. This realest shit I ever wrote. I won't say I was poor, but I know I grew up broke. I had some family pimping and some ones that selling dope. I won't say that I'm perfect, but I'm begging that you don't. Keep inside the hands the realest shit I ever wrote. I won't say I was poor, but I know I grew up broke. I had some family pimping and some ones that selling dope. I won't say that I'm perfect, but I'm begging that you don't. Keep inside the heaven, God. The realest shit I ever wrote. I can still tap into my own soul.
I can't wait till y'all hear this shit. Like pump it. You know what I'm saying? Pump it, blow one down, get on the highway, really soak it in. But today I want to talk about distractions. And it's ironic because Lord knows I've been distracted by the BS. I remember when I was going to school, when I was going to college, and don't none of y'all that went to school with me better say nothing when I tell this story. But I'm the nicest in Madden. Been the nicest in Madden. Madden the Halo on my thing. You know, again, I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. Just put your money up. uh, but during the time of us playing Madden, we spent a lot of time on it, right? The video game component. And I definitely had my grades impacted by my lack of ability to focus on, my coursework, what I was actually there for. Um, I was playing Madden. I was whooping ass in Madden. And not to say that Madden is a bad thing, but I'm using Madden as a metaphor for how we at that time were excessively dumping our energy into video games. Some would even say that we focused on and prioritized, the things that weren't important. If I could do it over again, I would have focused on coding, something that could have made me money. I probably would have, been an accountant major if I was really, really thinking about it. But I was distracted. I was distracted. And there's this analogy, right? When they talk about, your life is like a tube, and in that tube you can fit certain things. The sand is the BS, right? Sand are the little things that don't matter. And if you fill your bucket up with sand, you may not have room for other things like the larger rocks, your health, your family, your relationship with God. Um, and the analogy goes, you should fill in the sand around the big rocks and not vice versa. And I probably broke that down terribly, but I'm sure you can understand what I am saying. In that tube, but that limited space you have, there are some important rocks that you have to prioritize. And if you make the wrong mistake of being distracted by some of that sand, right, that sand that can slip away there one moment, gone the next, you may not appropriately fit the other things, the more important, larger rocks. So let's actually pull up the meaning of the word distraction. Let's do that. And yes, I already have it. So boom. All right. That's the screen. Distraction. A thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else, or extreme agitation of the mind or emotions. Ooh, that's heavy. So let's talk about it. So something that is preventing you from giving your full attention to something else. Hopefully that's something else. Hopefully it's not, but that something else could be what your main objective is, right? It could be what your purpose is. It could be a goal you set for yourself. It could be the fact that you know to get ahead of your competition, you're going to have to practice a little more, put in a little more time. But instead, you may be distracted by a video game or by something you do to pass the time, how much you smoke, whether you play cards. Some people pass time by eating. They will distract themselves from what they should be doing and working towards the objective. Sometimes it's done out of anxiety. Lord knows I've done it. Um, Sometimes it's done out of, I would say, bad habits, bad rituals. Whether you guys know it or not, the habits that you form daily, um, what you do first thing in the morning, it's a ritual. Whether you get up, brush your teeth, whether you get up and exercise, or you get up and pray, odds are you repeat that same cycle in the morning over and over and over, provided you have the time for it. So even those sort of rituals or behaviors or cadences, let's say, that you put together could distract you, right? You could be setting yourself up um, for proverbial failure or stagnation. Now, on the last episode, we talked about failure, and I told you uh, failure could be looked at as continued learning. But at what point do you have to stop learning the same lesson over and over? Those are some of the things we have to ask ourselves. And you have to be honest about the chess pieces that are on your board and what position they play and do they serve your purpose? Because ultimately, anything that is not in alignment with what your goal is a distraction. It's a distraction. One of the things you would hear about Kobe Bryant was how hard he would work, right? And when his peers would go out to the club where they would go partying, because these are rich dudes, rich young men with money, right? Uh, when they would go out partying and go out drinking, Kobe would go to the gym and shoot free throws. He would work out. And some people will say it's excessive, but Kobe would often say he wasn't distracted and he was focused, right? He wanted to win more championships. He wanted to prove himself. He wanted to prove his greatness. At one point, he wanted to prove himself without Shaq. Whatever his motivation was, he was not distracted by the trivial things. In his tube of life, and I don't know this person, I'm just using this as a metaphor, right? He looked at his performance and his execution in his craft as a major rock. And he positioned that major rock over the smaller grains of sand. That's the type of focus you have to have towards whatever it is you're looking to accomplish. Right? It could be building your business, building your nonprofit. It could be building your social media. It could be buying another house. It could be buying your first house. It could be any goal that you've set for yourself that is going to impact your life and allow you to help others and impact them. And once you know that, once you've been aligned with what you're supposed to do, anything that takes your eyes off the prize is a distraction. And this is where it takes personal accountability because no one else is responsible for managing your distractions besides you, for sure. And I know when times have gotten tough for me, there was a time I would have smoked away, right? Um, there's a time where I don't want to deal with much. I get home from work, I'm hopping on Call of Duty, right? I would take myself where I was at, allow myself to be distracted by, to escape into that reality because I didn't have to deal with what was pressing in this one. And to be honest, I kind of feel like that's how entertainment is designed, right? I kind of feel like they're made to be these escaping experiences, right? Where they take you from where you're at and you go live in a different reality. You watch these stories and you become engulfed in it, and 2 hours later you're back to where you were when you began the movie. No actual progress made towards your goal. And I'm not saying you can't enjoy movies or television, everything in moderation, right? But I think what drives us, and I don't know why that light is flickering, but what drives us to be who we are, to do what we do, we have to be able to manage distractions and focus. And you may say, Kenny, this is obvious. Cool, right? For sure. But despite how obvious it is, you will be surprised how often it's overlooked, especially when bad habits are formed. You ever see someone smoke a pack of cigarettes in a day? You never wonder how much time they spent smoking? I do. Now, I do believe a packet is excessive, but I'm not here to judge your lifestyle. This is just what science would say, right? Like doctors and medical studies, even the unbiased ones, right? um, when you think about not only just the focus for someone to go through, 12, 18 cigarettes or whatever they're smoking, what are they doing during that time? I don't know how long it takes to smoke a cigarette, but let's just say, I don't know, you spend 5 minutes smoking a cigarette on average. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Sometimes you go out, it's a quick hitter, then sometimes you go out, you have a conversation or interact with something else. Let's say it's 5 minutes. Let's say you smoke 10 minutes a day. That's 50 minutes towards uh, of time of yours that could be applied towards something. That could be your workout if you're not able to work out, right? So you say that could be you working on your business. That could you be studying. That could be putting extra hours into whatever your craft is. That could be time spent with God. And again, this is not to attack cigarette smokers. I'm just simply looking at how we spend our time on a high level and asking you to assess personally, are these big rocks or are these little rocks? Right? How do we figure that out? What's a big rock? What's a little rock? Right? Things that you absolutely have to have in your life, family, health, God. I hope those are the things that keep you grounded, right? Whatever the task is that's been laid before you, maybe it's cooking, or maybe it's writing, maybe it's painting, maybe it's speaking or building things, whatever it is, you know what God has designed for you and what your purpose is. If you listen, you will get it. That should be a big rock. What are the little rocks? It could be people that you waste time on. These could be friends. These could be platonic friends. These could be romantic relationships. These could be family members. Right? Yes, family members can be distractions. Family members can be haters. I hate to say that to you, but just because someone shares the same bloodline as you does not mean they are aligned in seeing you succeed or fulfill your purpose, or even want to celebrate you doing that. Right? I know I'm not the first person to have haters internally. And look, you don't have to like everyone. You can love them from afar. But even learning how to manage those people and the energy they bring is a form of distraction. I know everyone has certain family dynamics that, you know what? I'm not dealing with that today. I don't want to get distracted. You ever had that phone call? You ever had that phone ring and you look at the phone and you see who it is and you just know they're about to hit you with something that's going to take you off course? You know that's a distraction. And the way this reality is set up, sometimes these things are going to be put in front of you on purpose to get you to quit, or to slow you down. And when I think about that resistance, right, that opposition, whether you call it the devil, negativity, or just how this reality is coded, when I think about it in all of our individual tasks, I don't necessarily know if the opposition cares about your tasks per se. I think it's more about your ascension in pursuit of it and who you will become in your pursuit of it. I think that's what they're looking to take from us, right? Excuse me. So I don't know, man. I mean, when I think about it like that, just having a list of priorities, a list of things that you focus on daily, a good morning ritual will get your day off to a right start. And anyone who's got in the habit of waking up, working out, eating well, spending isolated time to themselves will tell you it feels great and you all should do it. That's real. That's real. And even my morning routine, like I'll be real with you. I used to be late to work playing Madden. I've been late to shows, busting asses online. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And look, we can settle who wants to see me in Madden, but that's for a different platform. That's for a different platform. But yeah, no, I've been distracted with the wrong things. To be honest with you, um, when I first started writing and creating, I was distracting myself for things that were going on in my household as a child growing up. That's where I learned it. I learned how to escape. You know, um, dealing with symptoms of systematic poverty that can come in all forms of abuse, that can become in domestic violence, that could come with any type of turbulence. As you know, my family was going through those things. As I observed those things through my observance, it was like, what could I do? I could sit there, listen to my parents' beef. The cops get called again, or I could throw my headphones on and go somewhere to where I'm not having to deal with that, or I can escape into a book. That can be healthy at times. But let me back up. And even thinking about where I was at that time, me writing or reading was also a mechanism of what I had at my disposal, right? I didn't have much at my disposal. When you're 10 years old and you're broke, you don't really have a lot of options, right? But when you become an adult and you have what you perceive as disposable income, that behavior of escaping can expound upon itself uh, and lead down to some rabbit holes. That's where it takes discipline and discernment. So the only person that can identify a distraction is you, the user. Again, when I say the user, I mean what you see out of your eyes, right? When you think about your consciousness, you are not your body. You are in your body, but you are not your body. I'm talking about you, what you perceive, what you feel, decisions that you make. You determine what is a distraction or not. And if you have to really question if something is a distraction, it probably is. Because you know the things that are aligned on your path to enlightenment and ascension. You do. That's the type of strength and mental fortitude that it takes. I'll be real with you. You have to set up guardrails, set up systems in place for you to not only identify distractions and deliver yourself from those distractions. And look, you're either in or out, right? You're in or out. There is no in between. I used to think there was a lot of gray area when it comes to your goals, and the important things. I used to think there was gray, and the wiser I get, I realize there's less gray and more black and white. There are some things that are clearly aligned and clearly not, and that's just what we have to accept. So I want to pull up Matthew 6:24. So yes, I do got a Bible passage, and no, I'm not preaching, but I do feel like this is valuable. Real shit. Let me add you to the screen. All right. Matthew 6:24. Probably 6:24 through 30. No one can serve two masters. Hold on. Can y'all see this? You see, I'm getting ready to start. Boom. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. That took us a different place. Therefore, I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and more than body than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap, gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more valuable than they? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour of span to his life? And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore, do not be anxious. Now, you may ask me, what does this have to do with distractions? Anxiety can be distracting. It can. Anxiety and how you deal with it can be distracting. Anyone that's ever been a nervous pothead will tell you that. Why do we smoke? Out of anxiety. What does it end up becoming? A distraction. But we feel like we're coping. We feel like we're self-medicating. And then you could take smoking and replace that with any other activity that releases dopamine. It could be food, alcohol, it could be sex, it could be drugs, it could be video games, whatever. You do the math for yourself. And so when I look at this passage, right, and we're being advised not to be anxious, and where the anxiety comes from, I also think about what that can mean in terms of faith or the lack thereof it. And this is a little bit, this is starting to veer from the distraction topic, but I also think that we have to express that if you're faithful to what your cause is, to what your purpose is, and to what your belief is, and you're aligning with the Most High, then you have to trust even things, grains of sand that you may like, things that you want that aren't big rocks. They'll ultimately be put where they need to be if you are not anxious and you are faithful to your path, and you don't worry, you just focus on the pursuit, and you stop thinking and you start doing. For sure. And as I look at this, and I think about this passage again, I am not a minister or a preacher, so if someone has broken down this particular excerpt differently, then so be it. But this emotional trap of being anxious and worrying about things that necessarily shouldn't be worried about, can be avoided if you are devout in your faith to whatever your discipline is, whatever that is. I'm not going to tell you what to do or how. As long as it's aligned with the Most High True God, pursue it. Right? Those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. And as I manage my distractions, I mean, there are things, things always pop up. I know every time I just get ready to dedicate some time to work on something I need to work on, or I have a goal that I've written down and I want to take it, something always pops up. Someone always calls me like, yo, I got the fire. There's always an event. There's always there's always something that occurs to where you have to make a choice. What's important? That's what y'all got to do. Find out what's important to you. Focus on it relentlessly. Keep your faith aligned and don't worry about it. Just work. Just work. For anybody that has a cell phone, I want you to do me a favor. Just pick up your cell phone, right? 1, 2, 3. Pick up your cell phone, right? If you picked up your cell phone, I want to ask you, did you think about picking up your cell phone? Or did you just pick it up? You just made it happen because you knew it was within your scope. There was no anxiety about your ability to pick up the phone. You knew you were strong enough to lift it. So you just lifted it. That's how you have to look at your tasks and live in your belief of it. Knowing that if there's something that God wants you to pick up, when it's time for you to pick it up, you will pick it up. That rock will be moved. So don't be distracted by fear or anxiety. Don't be distracted by your emotions, yo. You got to compartmentalize what you're feeling, deliver in the reality, and move accordingly. Those are my thoughts, yo. Those are my thoughts. So I'm actually going to go catch the end of this Laker game. You know, this is looking real loopy. They better not act up. But I want to wish y'all a blessed night. This is the Universal Frequency Podcast. Again, we ain't going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. This is episode 18. However many episodes we do, we going to do them. We going to cook with love. You heard? Y'all have a good night. Universal Frequency. Oh, there you go.
Energy, frequency, vibration. Energy, frequency, vibration.